I want to focus on what this referendum is really about. And it's about two words. It's about responsibility and opportunity. Now, I don't think that the day after the 18th of September, as the people of Scotland vote yes, you will automatically have, as the First Minister puts it, 3 taps available to you: oil, water and whisky. What I think is that the opportunities that are opened up to us become tremendously exciting. But we don't just get opportunities. To get those opportunities, we have to take responsibility. We've had a devolved system of government in Scotland since 1999. We've had the responsibility for a range of areas of public activity. We've taken that responsibility and we've tried to make it work. And sometimes there have been difficulties in so doing. But by taking responsibility, for example, taking in my own cabinet portfolio, by taking responsibility for education, we've been able to fulfil some really exciting opportunities. We've restored free education in Scotland, the bedrock of Scottish educational success. We've widened access to higher and further education. We've reformed, and very difficult to do, we've reformed the college sector to focus on employability. And we've introduced Curriculum for Excellence, which is a modern way of teaching and learning for the 21st century. But we could only take advantage, we could only help our young people take advantage of that if we had taken on, as we did, the responsibility for delivering it. And now we have to take on responsibility for other things. Let me go back to education. We've got some persistent problems in Scotland in education. And one of them is something called the attainment gap. And what that says is that how you do at school, how you will perform, is directly related to where you come from. It's related to the issue of poverty. Now that exists in many places in the world, but it's been particularly stubborn as a difficulty in Scotland. And now we've started to make an impression. The latest international figure shows we're making progress. But in order to close that, in order to provide opportunity for every child in Scotland, no matter where they come from, we have to eliminate poverty. We have to take the responsibility to do that. We have to take the responsibility for tax, for welfare, for labour market regulation, for the tools that allow us to eliminate poverty in Scotland. Well, why do we have to do that? Well, we have to do it for 2 reasons. The first reason is it's not being done elsewhere. The UK is the 5th most unequal society in the world. On the present trajectory, there will be 100,000 more children in poverty in Scotland than there are now by 2020. And it's even worse than that. Because we know that the policy is being pursued now at Westminster, and the cap that is being placed by Labour, if they were to gain power, would continue that trajectory. So if we want to eliminate poverty in Scotland, we have to take the responsibility to ourselves. Then we get the opportunity. And we could go through every area of national life and say, take the responsibility and then you get the opportunity. And that's what this is about. The white paper, published last November. It is looking at those areas of national life. It is saying, if we are prepared to take the responsibility, then as a nation, bit by bit, working together, we can take the opportunities to go forward. One of my favourite thoughts about the process that we're engaged in is this, and it comes from John Adams, the second American president, the first American vice president. Writing in 1776, at a time when his country was deciding whether or not it should be independent, he said that the opportunity being presented to his society was unique and exciting. He used these words about it. He said, this is the opportunity to begin government anew from the foundation and build as we choose. And he said that's an opportunity given to very, very few. It's an opportunity you now have. On the 18th of September, that's the opportunity you have to choose to build government anew. Some of us will not be able to do it for many years. We're not going to live forever. But when I go to schools, as I do as Education Secretary, and I see young people, they are the generation that will have the opportunity to build government anew, to make the type of society which we would like to live in. A just society, a fair society, a society that is outward-looking and generous, a society that is part of the world, a society that is normal. Because the most important thing about this is its normality. There are 196 independent countries in the world. Why would Scotland be any different? Why would it not be able to take the normal opportunities that exist? 196, of which well over 100 have become independent since the Second World War. This is a journey Scotland has to take. It now has the opportunity to take it. If it takes the responsibility, it can do as well as any other. Finally, Brian, and I know you're going to stop me in just a moment, the world is watching us while we do this. This has been a time that has invigorated our national life. This is the only experience I've ever had of a truly grassroots national movement. And it's one that is echoing throughout the world. I was in New Zealand at the end of March at an international education conference. And at the opening of the conference, if you've ever been to New Zealand, they have this wonderful ceremony which is singing and dancing, and it culminates with rubbing your nose, nose rubbing for those who are welcoming you. So you had a spectacle of 20 education ministers throughout the globe going along this group of very distinguished Maori rubbing noses. And I got just to the end, very distinguished aging Maori chieftain, and I leant forward and I touched my forehead to his as I'd been told to do, and then I rubbed my nose with his. And as I stood back, my name tag hung open. And he looked at it, and he pointed to it, and he said, "Scotland." And I said, "Yes." And he pointed to it again, and he said, "You're going to be your own boss soon." The world knows we are making a choice. It's a choice that they made in New Zealand over 100 years ago, and now have one of the most enviable and equal societies in the world. We can take those opportunities if we choose to take the responsibility. At the end of this, you'll have to decide on the 18th September who you believe, who you trust amongst the welter of things. Well, I'm not asking you to trust me, I'm not asking you to trust Douglas. I'm asking you to trust yourself. Because you have the ability, you have the skills, you have the vision, you have the excitement to do this, just as the citizens of every other country have chosen to do it. That's the right thing to do. Take the responsibility. Have the opportunity. Thank you.